Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's webinar. My name is Michael Coldesina, and I am the Manager of Travel Industry Accounts with Sports Travel and Tours. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items to get out of the way. First, your phones or your microphone on your desktop or laptop computer have automatically been muted, so you don't have to worry about inadvertently making noise to disturb the presentation, so go on and multitask if you need to. Second, we will be answering questions. The way we will do this is when you first logged into the webinar, there should have been a Go to Webinar toolbar that popped up. There should be a question tab. Go ahead and you can type in your questions at any point in time during the presentation, and I will be answering questions at the end of the presentation. Based on the number of people that are potentially attending tonight, I may not be able to get through all of the questions during the actual broadcast of the webinar tonight, but I certainly will answer those questions tomorrow morning via email and or phone contact. And then the last thing is we are recording this webinar. We also recorded the 7 p.m. version, and I'm not sure which of the two we will be uploading. It'll just depend on how the sound quality is for each of them. But a link will be emailed out to everyone that received an invitation to attend the webinar, and it'll have a link so that you can then click on the link and rewatch the webinar at your leisure, or if you want to forward it to someone else that may be traveling with you, you can go ahead and do that as well. But let's go ahead and get started. Tonight's webinar is just going to give you a nice overview of the weekend's activities. Hopefully it will answer any questions that you might have. I will have my contact information up at the very last screen, so if you would rather reach out to me tomorrow at some point via phone or email, please don't hesitate to do that. But let's go ahead and get started. For many of you, this may be your first trip to Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame, and it may even be your first trip traveling with Sports Travel and Tours. So just to kind of give you a little idea of who we are and what we do, we are now in our 22nd year of operation, offering fan travel packages to games and events all over North America and to some select international events as well. We're best known for our baseball road trips, pro and college football gridiron getaways, Hall of Fame travel packages both to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, as well as the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and also the many classic events that we offer, such as the Kentucky Derby, U.S. Open golf and tennis packages, and the Masters. Our experience, attention to detail, and customer focus have ensured that our customers will want to travel with us again year after year. We've also partnered with many great organizations such as the National Baseball Hall of Fame, which allow us to offer many exclusive features to select tours and packages. Baseball road trips are probably what we are best known for, and it really is how this company started. So I just want to give you a little overview of what they are. There's 3 different baseball road trips this year that featured the Induction Weekend at the end of July, and many of you that are on this call may be participating in those trips. But our baseball road trips are hosted tours anywhere from 3 to 11 days in length. They travel the U.S. and Canada, seeing major league games and major league parks. We do try to take in other sites and attractions, whether it be museums, points of interest, and wherever possible, we try to include guided tours of the ballparks we're visiting. We also try to have the tours not so structured that you don't have a little bit of leisure time to explore an area on your own. Baseball fans keep choosing Sports Travel and Tours over the years because of the quality and detail that go into our trips. We offer you the opportunity to visit amazing ballparks, see great games and great seats, stay in centrally located hotels so that when you do have some leisure time, you're right in the heart of things and with plenty to see and do. Also, most of our trips are point to point, so we're not wasting time doubling back. This means less time driving and much more time doing. Now, all of you hopefully have received your final documents. If not, they should be coming in the next day or two. But one of the first things that you probably noticed when you opened up your final document package was our Passport to Baseball. This was a program that we started over 15 years ago based on customer feedback. We found that the majority of people that traveled with us on baseball trips had expressed an interest to see all 30 major league parks at some point during their lifetime. So we put together our Stadium Hall of Fame program. When you travel with us for the first time, you receive the Passport to Baseball. You'll get a sticker in your passport for every stadium that you travel to with us, and also when you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. So at the end of your trip, you will receive a sticker from your tour host that you'll be able to put in your passport. And then, once you've been to all 30 Major League stadiums, we invite you to Cooperstown, Hall of Fame weekend in July. Our next induction class will be 2021. You will receive a plaque. You'll be able to give an acceptance speech, and then your nice bio page with picture and information on you, will be forever listed in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, each year, tens of thousands of people descend upon the tiny hamlet of Cooperstown to see baseball's greatest players, managers, anyone involved with baseball honored by the National Baseball Hall of Fame. In less than 2 weeks, we're going to see Chipper Jones, Trevor Hoffman, Vladimir Guerrero, Jim Thome, Jack Morris, and Alan Trammell be inducted, and we're going to be there to witness it firsthand. I wanted to spend a couple minutes just quickly going over your final documents. And like I said, if for some reason you have not received them, please give us a call. And my contact information will be up at the end screen. So on the left is the Sports Travel and Tours document folder. When you open that up, you'll see what is there on the right. First thing you'll notice, of course, there's a business card with the name and cell phone number of your tour host. If you do have any questions before your trip actually starts, though, please just call our 800 number and then just use the host's cell phone number for the days that you're actually on the trip. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday if your trip extends into Monday. Also then, of course, is the passport to baseball, which we just went over. And then on the right-hand side, when you pull the documents out, there is general information about your trip and the different events for the weekend. And then there's also a detailed trip itinerary that'll have your motor coach number and the name of a Hall of Famer. My particular trip that I'm hosting, my Hall of Famer is James Thomas Cool Papa Bell, who was a player in the Negro Leagues between 1922 and 1942, and probably has one of the coolest names out there. So I'm really excited that that's going to be my bus. And then if you pull out the documents that are behind these, you're going to see that there is a tour host profile, so a little bit of background information on your tour host. There's going to be information on transportation, so if you're driving, there'll be driving directions. If you're flying into Albany, it'll explain how to contact the hotel shuttle to come pick you up and take you to the hotels. And then also there's information on other types of transportation. There's also gratuity envelopes for your host and your driver, a Sports Travel and Tours fridge magnet, and the magnet is there to put the hotel contact information that may be needed by someone that's not traveling with you, has the name of the hotel, address, and the telephone number for the hotel. Also included on the left-hand side, but not visible, is going to be detailed information about the hotel with different amenities that it has, and then also information if you have special dietary needs, what you need to do to contact us so we can make arrangements for you. And then there's also information about our social media platforms. So let's jump into day number one, Friday, July 27th. I know many of you may be arriving on Thursday the 26th, especially if you're coming from the West Coast. But for those that are arriving on Friday, you should be able to check into your room after 3 p.m., pending availability of the rooms being made up. Your tour host will then be set up with a table either in the lobby of your hotel or in a nearby conference room, and there will be signage posted in the lobby showing you where to go for that. The timing is going to vary. It's anywhere between 3:30 and 6 p.m. depending on your trip. So, and this will be kind of a reoccurring theme throughout the presentation. Please remember to check your individual itineraries for the actual timing of the different events. After you meet your tour host, where you'll be getting some additional information, including a lanyard that we'll be touching upon in a future slide, then will be the trip reception. The trip reception is going to be a meal along with non-alcoholic beverages, and there'll also be a cash bar as well. For all of the packages that are staying at the Albany Marriott, there's two programs taking place after the reception. First is a program called Talking Baseball with Dan Schlossberg. Dan is a former AP sports writer, baseball editor of Latino Sports, baseball writer for Forbes.com, and also the author of 38 baseball books, including a book that he authored with our next program, which is Ump's Eye View Sports Talk with former Major League umpire Al Clark. Al spent 26 years in the major leagues, and he's going to give you a behind-the-scenes look and a perspective of our great American pastime that many of us really never get an opportunity to explore. After his presentation, then he's going to take questions from the audience. Okay, so now let's look into Saturday. So all of the packages include daily breakfast at the hotel, and the start time varies between 6 and 6:30 depending on your hotel, so do check your individual itineraries. And then depending on the trip, you'll be leaving sometime between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning to travel by motor coach into Cooperstown. The arrival time into Cooperstown, somewhere between 9 and 9:45 a.m., depending on your individual trip. Now, I had mentioned the lanyard. So everyone will receive a lanyard when you check in with your tour host on Friday afternoon. The lanyard is really going to be your entrance, your admission into the Hall of Fame. All of the packages include memberships, so all of you, by the time you arrive on Friday, will have a Baseball Hall of Fame membership. Your actual membership card will be given out on Saturday on the motor coach ride into Cooperstown, and you will be receiving souvenir tickets for each day of your package. So Saturday, Sunday for the 3-day, 2-night packages, Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the 4-day, 3-night packages, but they are just souvenir tickets. All you need to do is show your lanyard when you enter the Hall of Fame. And I'll give you a little bit more information on how best to enter the Hall of Fame on a subsequent slide. So most of the day on Saturday is at leisure. Explore the Hall of Fame, explore Cooperstown. It's about 3 blocks in length from the Hall of Fame at one end to Chestnut Street at the other. Lots of shops with baseball paraphernalia, baseball memorabilia, you name it. Lots of restaurants, street vendors. On Saturday and Sunday, Main Street will be closed to vehicular traffic, so it's really easy to get around and easy to cross the streets. The first scheduled event, though, is at 4:30 p.m. That's the Hall of Fame Awards presentation. This is where they give out the Ford C. Frick Award for Broadcast Excellence, which will be going to Bob Costas from NBC Sports this year, and then the J.G. Taylor Spink Award for Meritorious Contributions to Baseball Writing, which will be given out to Sheldon Oker, who has covered the Cleveland Indians for the past 3 decades. Now, after the awards presentation is the Parade of Legends. This is starting at 6 p.m. It will come down. It actually exits from the back parking lot of Doubleday Field onto Chestnut Street for just about a block, makes a right-hand turn on Main Street. So pretty much anywhere on Main Street between the main business district and 3 blocks later to the Hall of Fame will be a great location to view the parade. It's going to have all the returning Hall of Famers as well as the class of 2018. After the parade, if everyone will head to the parking lot for Doubleday Field, we can wait in the first base grandstands as the motor coaches come in and load everyone up and then head back to the respective hotels. So this map just kind of gives you an overview of Cooperstown. Just a couple of quick things to point out. So if you can see the number 10 pointing to that red dot, that's Cooper Park, and that's where the motor coaches will be dropped off. From that point, you can literally see the library entrance, which is on the, if you were staring at the Hall of Fame, it would be around the left side. That's going to be your quickest, easiest entrance. It'll take you literally maybe 60 seconds to walk from the motor coach to the library entrance. Only Hall of Fame members can enter there, so you just show your lanyard and walk right in. There's also the main entrance, and that's represented by the number 9 and the black dot. My guess when we arrive, you'll probably see people lined up to get in. Well, they're lined up to buy admission tickets into the Hall of Fame. We don't have to wait in that line. There is a entrance immediately to the left of that front entrance for Hall of Fame members. We can go in there and just flash our lanyard and walk right in. The other two things to point out is number 12, which is Doubleday Field. That's where we will be meeting at the end of the Parade of Legends to wait for the motor coaches to come into town. And then the Yellow Star, that is where on Saturday and Monday, Sports Travel and Tours will have a tent set up all day. So if you have any questions about Cooperstown, any questions about your trip, or if you want to find out some more information on other programs that we have besides the Baseball Hall of Fame induction, please stop by at any time and ask us some questions. And now let's just do a quick overview of the Hall of Fame itself. There are, like I mentioned, there's 3 entrances that you can use to get into the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, but there's really 2 that you'll want to use. The library entrance, which is the blue arrow to the upper right part of the screen, and then the other blue arrow on the left when you're coming into the main entrance. If you do see a line, walk past the line and then go to the entrance on the left that will say, I believe it says membership above the doorway, and just walk right in and show your lanyard. Also then there's, with the green arrows, that shows that there are 2 sets of restrooms on the first floor of the Hall of Fame. Now there's a lot to see and do on the first floor, but I'm not going to go into the details. The main thing that everyone wants to see on the first floor is the Hall of Fame gallery, where there are 323 plaques for the current inductees, and then the 6 new plaques from the class of 2018 will be installed and ready to go by the time the Legends of the Game Roundtable is over on Monday, and everyone comes back to spend a little bit of time in the Hall of Fame on those packages that include Monday. Other thing to point out on the first floor, there are 2 gift shops. There's the museum store, which is on the lower left-hand side of the layout, and then there is the museum bookstore that is immediately to the left once you've come in from the library entrance. On the second floor, you can really kind of follow the history of baseball from its inception through the end of the 19th century and all the way into today's game. There's also some temporary exhibits that you can see, but please make sure you come up to the third floor, where one of the exhibits is a fan section all about baseball fans, and there on display you can see our original passport to baseball and see the trip that kind of started this whole Stadium Hall of Fame, and let us know what you think. Now, as you can imagine, our tour hosts have quite an expansive knowledge of Cooperstown. Many of our hosts have been to this event numerous times, plus have been to Cooperstown on their own or with other trips that they have hosted for us. So we like to pass along their suggestions. There's plenty of dining options in Cooperstown. There's restaurants all through the Main Street area, either on Main Street directly or just off one of the side streets. But also over the weekend, there's going to be a number of food vendors just on the sidewalk in front of stores that are either extensions of the restaurant or other vendors that have come in just for the weekend. So whether you sit down and grab a bite or get something to go and walk down to the lakefront park in front of Otsego Lake and just kind of relax, plenty of different options for you. So Sunday, same deal in the morning, breakfast starting at 6 or 6:30, depending on your individual package. Please check your itineraries. Departure will be between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. From the hotels, and then arriving at the Clark Sports Center in Cooperstown between 9:15 and 9:45 a.m. Now, a couple things to point out here. If you see the large panoramic shot of the induction site, if you look to the far right, and you can see a small grove of trees in the upper right-hand corner of that picture. So the motor coaches will be parked on site, kind of starting to the right of those trees and then coming to the foreground, closer to where the actual Clark Sports Center is, which is behind the picture that we can't see. So they're no more than about maybe 200 yards from the actual seating area, whether you're in the VIP section, which would be immediately in front of the white tent that you see, or the other general admissions seating, which is directly behind the that fence line, where we set up reserved seating for all of our guests that are not on the VIP packages. Other things to point out, so we're getting into the induction site several hours before the induction ceremony begins at 1:30. If you look to the left of that panoramic shot, and you can see a line of school buses, the City of Cooperstown and the Hall of Fame run looping shuttles that will take you from the induction site back up to Main Street, dropping you off in the same location that our coaches dropped you off on Saturday, so that you can spend additional time at the hall or on Main Street. And then just remember that be back at that place where the motor coach, where the school buses dropped you off by no later than 12:30, because the last shuttles depart at 1 to come down to the induction site, and then the induction starts promptly at 1:30. When the at the induction site, there are plenty of portable restrooms. There's at least 2 different Baseball Hall of Fame gift tents, so you can do purchase gift items Sunday as well. There's food and beverage for sale, and then we also will provide for our guests that are not in the VIP section, we will have cold bottles of water, and then within the VIP section, the Hall of Fame provides water periodically that is pretty cold as well. When the induction ends, and there's no set time for that to end, but based on past years and how many inductees there are, it's probably going to be between 4:30 and 5 o'clock that the induction will end. We'd ask you that if you're not in the VIP section, if you would take your folding camp-style chair, fold it up, put it in its little carrying sack, and then as you make your way back to where the motor coaches are, there will be a large white truck with Sports Travel and Tours folks, and if you could just bring the chairs to them and then pick up a cold bottle of water. When you get back to the motor coach, there will be a boxed lunch waiting for you, and then all you have to do is relax, enjoy the boxed lunch, and wait for the motor coaches to be released to head back to the airport and the hotel for those trips that are ending on Sunday evening. One thing to remember, on Sunday morning, if your trip is ending Sunday evening, if you're flying out Sunday evening, make sure you check out of your hotel, bring your bags down to the motor coach. We'll put everything underneath the coach so that when we leave and go to the airport, everything will be ready to go. If you are driving, you can check out of the hotel, leave your bags in your car, and then when the coach gets back to the hotel, you'll have everything ready to go. The motor coaches will remain on site, so if for some reason you need to get something that's at the coach, they will be there the entire day Sunday along with us. So the induction ceremony, as I mentioned, it's going to last till approximately 4:30 or 5 based on the six that are there. And I always forget to mention this, there's not a lot of shade cover in the area, so please bring plenty of sunscreen. We will have sunscreen available as well, but it's always good to bring a little bit of extra, and I would make sure that you put it on probably before we get to the induction site, and I always usually about every 2 to 3 hours add an extra layer just in case. So for those that are on packages that include Monday, same deal with the breakfast and the departure. Just check your individual itineraries for the departure times and for the arrival times into Cooperstown, and same deal with the checkout. So check out, bring your bags down, put them on the bus if you're flying out later Monday. If you're driving, then you can put the bags in your car. So the Legends of the Game Roundtable is the event on Monday starting at 10:30. This is a hosted question and answer session with the class of 2018. I don't know if they've announced who the moderator will be, but the last several years it's been Peter Gammons from ESPN Baseball, so I would be surprised if it's not him again. And then after the Legends of the Game Roundtable, you'll have additional time to explore the Hall of Fame, explore Cooperstown, grab a bite to eat. The coaches, depending on your individual package, will be leaving between 3:30 and 4 p.m. and going back to the airport and the hotel. So that is Induction Weekend in a nutshell. We've got a number of questions that have come in. My contact information is there, so please note that down in case you want to reach out to me with a question offline. Let's see. It says, first question is there a schedule of when, where Hall of Fame players, specifically Cox, Maddox, Glavine, will be signing autographs? Yes, and I do not have the exact link here available. I will email that out to you individually, but there's a website that is, I believe, eventually it's either MAB Sports, MAB Events, and they pretty much coordinate the signings and where everyone will be. At any given point in time, there'll probably be somewhere between 50 or 60 players, not all Hall of Famers, but mostly Hall of Famers, signing autographs in and around the Main Street, Cooperstown area. We will also have posted to our Facebook page, probably by Thursday or Friday of Induction Weekend, a list of who will be where, at what time, and how much they're charging for autographs. Let's see. Next question is, can you only qualify for the Fan Hall of Fame activities if you attend games at all 30 stadiums through Sports Travel and Tours? And yes, that is correct. And one of the reasons for that is we do pay for your overnight hotel accommodations once you've attained the all 30 stadiums. So when you come to Cooperstown for that weekend, we're paying for your hotel. Let's see. Can we bring new baseballs to ask for autographs? Certainly, there's no restrictions on that. Pay attention when you're on Main Street. There's always a lot of former players walking down the street. The problem I always have is I'm not used to what they look like now. I'm expecting to see what they looked like when they were still playing, and it's usually 5 minutes after I've passed them on the street that I realize who I just passed. But definitely there's a lot of players that are accessible. It says, currently the forecast for our weekend is calling for a little bit of rain. What can we do and how can we be prepared for weather, and how will the weather impact on the events? So one of the things that's nice is on Sunday, I pointed out that the motor coaches are very, very close. So if for some reason the start of the event is delayed by rain, it's very short walking distance, maybe no more than 5 minutes to get to the motor coaches. The motor coaches will then be turned on, so they'll be air conditioned. And if we have to wait things out a little bit, we can do that. It's only, I think we had a 15-minute rain delay about 5 years ago, but have not had any issues recently. If it's on Saturday, there's plenty of places to seek shelter, whether it's in the Hall of Fame, in different shops along Main Street. So Saturday is really not an issue. Let's see. Can you leave your chairs at the induction site during the morning if you take the shuttle into town? So yes, obviously if you're in the VIP section, those chairs are already set up by the Hall of Fame and they're in place. But for the packages that are not seated within the VIP section, we go in and set those chairs up the day before. So when you arrive Sunday morning, all of the chairs are in place. They're all going to be reserved by your bus name and bus number. So you don't have to worry about setting anything up in the morning. You can go into town and come back and know that you're going to have a seat reserved for you. Next question is, what time should we find a spot to view the parade prior to the start time to ensure a good view? I would say if the parade starts at 6, I would say no more than 15 to 25 minutes before. And my suggestion is the further away you get from the Hall of Fame on Main Street, the better the viewing. I think I mentioned earlier, so the parade starts it's staged from the back entrance to Doubleday Field, where it comes out onto, I believe it's Chestnut, makes a right-hand turn, so less than a half of a block it goes down Chestnut, makes a right on Main Street. So anywhere on Main Street, probably from Doubleday Field to that corner, really good viewing locations, and you don't have to get there that far in advance to ensure a good view. At least on the Hall of Fame side of Main Street, the sidewalks kind of slope down a little bit to the street level, so it's a little bit of tiered viewing, so that also is a benefit. Someone is asking if the order of speeches has been announced for Sunday, and to my knowledge, it has not, or at least it has not been published. Next question, is there any advantage to having a car? I would say on Saturday and Sunday it would be a distinct disadvantage to try to bring a car into Cooperstown. There's just going to be so many people, and it's going to be hard to find a place to park. On Monday, if you are coming in on Monday, completely different story. It will be much easier, especially if you are driving home later Monday anyway, and you don't want to have to go all the way back to Albany or all the way to Utica just to get your car and come back. That's definitely a possibility, and if you want, reach out to me, and I can give you good information on how best to do that on Monday. So it says next question is Sunday, the provided meals are breakfast before leaving and then a box lunch served after the ceremony between 4:30 and 5, and that is correct. There are at least 2 different food tents at the induction site that will be going pretty much from about 11 o'clock onward, and then also if you're going up to Main Street in Cooperstown, plenty of different places to eat, to get something to eat before then. Let's see. If you are on a VIP package, when will you receive your tickets for the upgraded seating? So all of the tickets, any souvenir tickets that I mentioned for, or actual tickets for seating will be given out the morning of the event. So on Saturday morning as we're heading into Cooperstown, you're going to receive your Baseball Hall of Fame membership. You're going to receive your souvenir tickets for the entry into the Hall of Fame. Sunday morning on the way in, you'll receive your the people in the VIP section will receive an actual seating ticket, and then I think there's a souvenir ticket that we give to everyone else. So that will all be given out by your tour host on the different days of the trip. Next question is about cash for signatures, or will they accept credit cards? Most of the signings do have a way to take credit card payments. So yes, not many do not have credit card capabilities that I have seen. Let's see. For those of us who have the lawn seating, are there assigned seating? So it is assigned and reserved based on the bus number. So for example, when we were looking at the documents, the group that I'm hosting, we are bus 17, Cool Papa Bell. If there's 50 on our trip, then there'll be 50 seats reserved for our trip, and there'll be kind of a there'll be flags at either end of the row showing this is bus 17. If you're in the VIP section, each individual seat will have a sticker that will say the bus number, and but they're not reserved by individual people, but plenty of seats there. So yes, they are reserved by bus number, but not by individual people. There is no shaded seating in any location unless you want to really go very far to the left or right of the viewing area, or way back. Now, if for some reason the heat becomes much, there are areas that you can go to seek some shade. There's also a medical tent that is somewhat air conditioned in case there's a serious issue. We will be providing, as I mentioned, we'll be providing cold bottled water in the non-VIP sections, and the Hall of Fame will be providing it in the VIP sections. And let's see, let me keep scrolling down here. Someone's asking about autographs. Do they require a fee? Yes, they do require a fee, and it varies by player and also by what they're signing. The information that I gave out about the MAB events, that will have that detail, and also by about Thursday or Friday of Induction Weekend, we'll have that information posted on our website as well. Someone's asking, are we allowed to put up an umbrella? So yes, until the induction ceremony starts. When the induction ceremony is starting, they will ask people to kindly put the umbrellas down. Okay, there are still a lot of questions, and I will respond to them tomorrow, but we'd like to try to keep these no more than 30 minutes long. So if I did not answer your specific question that you have asked, I will be responding to it tomorrow. If you do have a question that you have not asked yet, please feel free to reach out to me by phone or by email. and look forward to seeing you on Induction Weekend. Most of the day on Saturday and Monday, I will be staffing the Baseball Hall of Fame tent on Main Street in front of the Doubleday Field parking entrance. So come by, see me, ask me a question, let me know how the presentation went. And I thank you very much. And just as a reminder, and I can't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning, this is being recorded and will be posted to our YouTube channel sometime tomorrow. We will also be sending out an email to everyone that received an invitation to attend with the link so that you can watch this again at your leisure. I'm not sure if it's going to be this version or the one that we did at 7 o'clock, but they're pretty much the same. Just some of the questions that we talk about may have been different. Thank you and have a great evening, and enjoy the rest of the All-Star game.